Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms
to push their own personal bias. And agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms
to push their own personal bias.
And agenda to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news
has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Yeah, that's an old favorite right there. Have so many intros to play. I still had to default to that one because it was just so relevant. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say there's hardly any of you here that are 21 years old. Yeah, you guys are waking up, but it's a guided awakening. The younger generation is being guided through TikTok trends and all that. Listen, man, these people are very good. They're genius at what they do. They're genius at what they do. We're going to talk about some really incredible things. 21 years old, man, much kudos to you. But most of the people in this chat, most of the viewers of this video over the next week or so, yeah, it's you're an extreme minority. Most people, when they're 21, have they have a lot of other things on their mind. Share my screen real quick. I'm assuming my audio is pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna take the weight off of you today. Some of you need to hear this. I might rant a little bit, but you need to hear this because you're getting caught up in some bullshit. A lot of stuff a lot of narratives are being revealed in the field right now, and you need to sit your ass down, collect yourself, and realize what's really going on. You have to objectify. You have to step outside of the information bubble in order to see with greater clarity the manipulation that you're being led into. See if I can blow that up. Some of you old geezers out there, you've seen these terms before. They're not new. I did not invent them. Some of you know what I'm talking about. There's a few people, here in Archaix that have background in media, and they know these terms very well and what they're used for. We're going to cover in this video. This is a very structured video, because by the time we get to the end of the video, you need to know what the real soul trap is. You need to understand the levels of media manipulation. This is the syllabus for this video. Negative effects of the news. We'll go through them real quick, but you're not going to be able to deny it. I've told you many times in the past, many of you who resonate in your natural state of vibration is far higher than your contemporaries. So when you walk into a room and see other souls listening to mainstream media, you hear ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, BBC, and you instantly feel uncomfortable. It's because you're resonating on a frequency that they don't even know exists. The other people in the room glued to that field are indulging in feedback loops. All the feedback loops that is more the amygdala straight into a data field that was specifically prepared for them to be moored to. There's an exchange of information between the souls that get sucked into the mainstream and alt media. And they're exchanging this information. There's a lot going on when you allow yourself to be guided by socio-political narratives that are specifically put out to do this to you. Negative effects of the news. Then we're going to talk about a technique used by government, corporations, and and news agencies themselves called flooding the zone. You're going to be able to start recognizing this in the field when it starts happening. It's happening every week. Flooding the zone. You're going to learn what hypervigilance is, what it does to you. You're going to learn another term in media called the Firehose of Falsehood. Another term, dead cat strategy. You're going to learn about the Friday news dump. Sounds dumb, but it's actually a technical term, and it describes some real deceitful stuff that goes on in the media, in the exchange, the relationship between governments, corporations, and the media. Then you're going to get the business on what it actually does to the soul, the psyche, and the avatar relationship. What happens to you when you totally ignore the news? Some of you already know the answer to that. Thank you guys for joining me on this Saturday. I believe it's Saturday. I lose the track. I've been going through a lot of changes. It's just the vicissitudes of life, really. In Archaix, we got a lot of new songs, new intros and outros. We got more on the way. I've been getting real heavy into my closures, meaning I've been attacking different paradigms and shutting the door on them. And what I mean by shutting the door is that there's nothing to debate, and that's why no one wants to debate. But I've been selecting many things in the past 90 days or so and doing videos on to show you guys, look, here's the overwhelming data, and I'm done. And there's no reason to do another video on these things. It's done. But what I do need to do is revamp my website in order to give people a clear path to where they can find things easily. Also, there's going to be a restructuring of Archaix on YouTube for a few reasons. YouTube has kind of forced it. Today, I released a video that's already been on my channel for 2.5 years, but YouTube hijacked it. And they're doing this with a lot of channels and a lot of videos. I have over 1,040 videos on YouTube. And the problem is that when I go into my analytics, I can see that 99.9% of all my views are videos that have been released in the last 90 days or so. No one, maybe one or two of you every once in a while goes way back into the past and looks at older videos, but no one's really doing it. My analytics are very clear. It's about 99.9% of all my views are in my latest videos, like today's video, yesterday's, last week's, the last dozen or so I've done in the last 30 days. Those are the ones people watch the most. Of course, it's natural. But it leaves over 1,000 videos in the past no one's watching anymore. It's like dead real estate just sitting on YouTube. And it's never bothered me before, but now that YouTube is using AI to go back and analyze content, the AI is picking out little copyright deals that even when the video was released, it cleared all copyrights and the videos were monetized, and you guys got to see them with no ads. But as you've noticed, many of you have noticed, several videos have popped up with ads in the middle of the videos, and I've never allowed mid-rolls on my channel, ever. So I investigated, and I come to find out that These companies that I subscribed to in 2001, 2002, 2003, I subscribed and paid monthly fees to these companies, and I downloaded tens of thousands of images for my videos. They were all covered by copyright. But these companies all work together. They network together. They're very deceptive. Sometimes it's little musical clips. Sometimes it's little 10-second video animations, whatever it is. But after 3 to 5 years, those companies change ownership. And this is by design, because the carrying of the copyright over to the new company doesn't carry my rights over to the new company. A lot of these companies have little fine print. So basically what I'm telling you is you're seeing ads pop up on videos because YouTube is going back into the past and reanalyzing older videos for copyright violations, because these companies are playing musical chairs and they're getting a lot of money from us. And then turn around when they change ownership, we're no longer covered in our copyrights. And it's really stupid. It's deceptive, but we got to deal with it. So I'm going to be eliminating a bunch of videos, older videos off of YouTube. I really don't have much choice. I'm not going to sit here and fight YouTube over copyright shit every single day. It's not going to happen. But Awaken the Immortal Within, it was worth it to me to go ahead and re-upload the video and put different background. That's for my California, New Mexico trip you're looking at when you listen to the video. But I'm not going to do that with 1,000 videos. I'm going to go ahead and upload them all to BitChute. I've already got half of them are on BitChute already. I'm going to upload them all, the rest of them up to BitChute. And then in Archaix Underground, I'm just going to put the links in the thumbnails, so you'll have a huge catalog of videos. You can just click onto it and it'll take you straight there. I'm not going to fight YouTube. I'm not going to go through all this BS. But none of what I'm telling you doesn't even affect, 99.9% of you. It's just that 0.01% who like to go in and watch videos that are like 4 months and older. So this is what's going on. I got to deal with it. It's just something I got to do. So there's going to be a restructuring to Archaix. It's no big deal. All right, what we got going on here in this chat? YouTube's all about making that money, guys. They're real frustrated with me because I got 14.8 thousand watch hours and almost nobody can compete with that. You can investigate watch hours on channels that have millions of subscribers, and I'm frustrated with YouTube too. A lot of people, especially my detractors, will think I'm just crying and whining and stuff, but I can actually prove, they're doing to me what they did to Max Egan. Every night I can watch my whole ticker go down, and the next morning they give me back the subs they took from me the night before, and they take from the bottom. The reason I know that they're throttling Archaix and taking my subs is because I see the loss in my analytics every day. And people just don't log on YouTube and unsub. You have to give them a reason. Let me give you an example. I have another channel with 6,100 subscribers. Guess what? I haven't put a video. There's not a single video on that channel. I took them all off 6 months ago. I haven't lost any subscribers. I still have 6,100 subscribers. People don't just log on to YouTube to unsubscribe. But I'm losing subscribers every day, and then when they give them back to me overnight, I just got a few more, 2 or 3 more than the day before. I've been watching the throttling. Max Egan is the one that taught me to watch for it, but I've been watching this throttling. The same thing is happening on X. But when I look at my other channel, which has no activity, there's nobody unsubscribing. Very interesting. This was brought to my attention by Max Egan, but now I'm seeing a lot of other YouTubers showing it too. They're doing videos showing that YouTube is throttling. And what they do is they're not removing subscribers in real time like you guys that are subscribed to the channel. No, they're removing the subscribers that are no longer active accounts. Some of them might be troll accounts. Some of them haven't logged on to YouTube in 6 months. Some of them haven't logged on onto Archaix in 6 months. They're taking them from the bottom. Believe me, every channel has a bunch of bots. I mean, look at the channels that have 2 million subs, and yet they can't even get 400 people on a live video. That's just proof, man. Those channels aren't throttled. They're just keeping their subs. This is a good way for YouTube to manipulate the data, but it's hard for them to cover up when I go live and I have so much traction compared to channels, 10 times my size that can't get the traction I get. And this is, I mean, the live chats do have a lot of high participation. The comments after a video have high participation, but nothing can prove to YouTube more the value of a presentation than the watch hours. And that's where Archaix excels. In watch hours, it is amazing how many watch hours I have compared to my competition. So anyway, these are just little things. So 2026, I'm revamping a lot. Also, I've already told my admins and mods in Cypher, my Cypher community is going strong, but also underground, and we're going to network. There's no reason these two individual groups shouldn't know what's going on with each one. So the live videos I do, and I've done a lot of them with Cypher Group on date sequence, predictive analytics and predictions, personal, professional, sports predictions. Those videos are now going to be posted in underground for people who are not subscribed to Cypher that just want to know what the hell we're doing in there, what's going on. So you'll have access to those live videos very soon in the underground, Archaix underground. Also, those in Cypher who are subscribed to Cypher, the Cypher Group, which is a private community, and you want to know what's really going on in the Archaix underground and everything all the videos we do. We just started doing weekly Chat Tuesdays. We've already done Chat Tuesdays, I think three times. Yeah, 3 times now. And we're doing live videos that will be shared in the Cypher community. So there's going to be some sharing between those two communities. And I still got to figure out what I'm going to do with this 1,000 and something videos on the back end of Archaix, because I'm not going to let YouTube just sit here and chip away and chip away and chip away. I'll just go ahead and put them on another platform, and we'll keep YouTube to do the last 90 days of badass presentations, because that's all anybody's really watching anyway. The last 90 days. I mean, it's in the analytics, so I can't go wrong removing all the content, as long as I provide it somewhere else where you guys can see it, because they're going to commercial the shit out of it here on YouTube, and I can't stop them. Can't stop them. All right. Now that my rant is over with. Yeah, I used to get 2,000, 2,500 people in the live chat. You're right. I don't know. That stopped too. Although I got a whole lot of new people on the channel. You already know, man. You go to criticizing the tiny hats. This is what they do, because it's par for the course. I'm not even mad. I'm not mad because I see the game. I'm one of the very few that's calling it out. Almost no one in social media wants to call it out. They're all scared. But I've already told you guys right here live. Just told you, I said, man, I can't not call it out. I said, when I find out that Patrick Bet-David, PBD, and I find out that Andrew Schultz and Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan's company, when I find out the only common denominator is they're all very wealthy Jews, I was like, well, that right there answers it for me. It answers it for me. No wonder, because I live by meritocracy. Me personally, I don't believe you deserve anything if you didn't earn it. But we do have that echelon of our society, and I'm gonna continue to mention it. It is absolutely unfair, not just unfair to me, but unfair to many of you, that you can't work hard and succeed when you have nepotism so rampant that some guy just pops up nobody's ever heard of, and he's given a podcast, and in 3 videos he's got more than you've spent your whole life. He's got more people subbed to him and watching him and engaging with him than you spent your whole life with material that is 100 times more fascinating. There's just no way to compete with nepotism. And nepotism is the reason why all these major venues are so successful. They network together, and all their backstories are lies. All this coming up, grassroots. Shut up. We already know, like Steven Spielberg, we already know all this shit's a lie. They own the media as well. I'm always calling that out. They own the media as well. Shit, give me $10 million. Watch what happens to Archaix if I had access to the deep pockets they got. Yeah. Unstoppable engine of truth. Yeah, I would shatter every paradigm out there. But it's just me and the couple of people I can afford to pay every once in a while to help me out, do what I do. So now my rant's over. But yeah, it's all par for the course. It's all par for the course. They throttle those of us who tell the truth about them. It's just simple as that. It's just as simple as that. I tell you guys all the time, the world is a captured operation. And you shouldn't get caught in that polarity of, Republican and Democrat, of patriot and non-patriot. All that stuff, it's all a part of a structure. It's all part of a structuring that's designed to wear you down. It's the true soul trap. I'm going to explain before the end of this video what I mean by this is the true soul trap. So, let's see. I already have a huge BitChute channel. I see Jasmine answering somebody. I already have a huge BitChute channel that's already copied every single Archaix video in the last 3 years. I just have to upload about a whole bunch of the older videos on BitChute. That's no big deal. It's no big deal. And I really should go ahead and try to do an Archaix or Odyssey takeover. I don't know why I've always stayed on YouTube because YouTube made it easy, but it's now becoming a deal where I might grow on YouTube, just doing live videos. And after 90 days, every single video gets archived onto one of the other platforms. It looks like this is the model that many other people have done as well. And I may just have to do that because there's no way in hell I'm going to sit here and have the energy every single time somebody complains to me, Jason, man, what's going on, man? You got man, every 2 minutes, there's 3 ads. I can't even get through this video. And I'm always perplexed. And I go log on. I'm like, God damn, man. Because I don't have ads on my channel. So I go back and I look, and YouTube has now demonetized another old video. And this is going on like every week now. And I'm not going to re-upload all these videos on YouTube for what? They got to go somewhere else. YouTube's just gotten too greedy, guys. Way too greedy. All right. And of course, they have a financial reason for doing it. Once they demonetize something, they don't have to pay me anything for that video anymore. Once they demonetize a video. In addition to that, the ads they put on there, they get the money for them. In addition to that, they get even more money from the people who get frustrated and pay for YouTube Premium, because YouTube Premium, you're not going to watch ads. So I can't hate on them. It's a business. It's a business practice. That's what it is. But it's a business practice. It's a whip on my back. Yeah, it's just a whip across my back. I'm the one that put a tremendous amount, tens of thousands of hours preparing research and presentations, to give you guys free content. And it's like a slap in the face. So I'm going to have to take about 1,000 videos down once I know they're secured on other platforms. So we already know that the world actors, you're not supposed to be in my chat. You're not even supposed to be listening to my channel if you're still of the opinion that world leaders are actually ruling the world. If you're still of the opinion that Zelensky is a true leader of Ukraine, it didn't come from an actors guild after spending an acting career as a homosexual. If you don't know this yet, you're either not paying attention, or you might be 21 years old. You might be super young in here, or you're naive as hell. You're just naive as hell. If you think Donald J. Trump is a true ruler of the United States, coming from an acting career, who cares if he is a part of a real estate mogul, family? It doesn't matter. None of that matters. They're all, every one of them in politics have signed the contract. Yeah. The majorum of the human family are meant to fall for all this BS. You're not if you're listening to me, you're not. You're an extreme minority. Our world leaders, even people in Congress, came from strip clubs. They came out of actors guilds. Some of them in American politics were crisis actors for events that we swallowed hook, line, and sinker, thinking these were real terrorists, real socio-political, real disasters, real events, isolated events in the past 50 years or so. And then later on, we find out, damn, that same individual right there sitting in Congress. What? Oh, man, the whole world is a stage. They're all clowns. They're all bought. And this is where we need to go with that, because once you make the mental leap that, damn, government rules are supposed to rule over us in the narrative that's been pushed on us, even though the people are supposed to rule themselves, government has created like a dome over people where we're legislating and a judiciary that has literally, become the bars over society, the jail bars. So this is the model, and you buy into it. But at the same time, you have to think, okay, well, they're all actors. Okay, if they're all actors and they're all paid to wear masks, and many of the people that we see on the news aren't even the people that we see on the news. Many of the people that we see on the news are not the people we see on the news. The mask technology is so sophisticated now, it's almost imperceptible. You guys know during the Biden administration, we had at least 4 Bidens. A lot of people argue with me and say we had 5. I don't know. But still, it's ridiculous. They're all bought. Republican, conservative, Democrat, liberal, socialist, libertarian, centrist. It doesn't effing matter. They are all bought. You're still talking about Charlie Kirk. You're still talking about Erica Kirk. It's a clown show. You're still holding yourself on a pedestal because you think you have the facts that Mr. Kirk's not even dead. You still look down your nose at other people because you feel yourself superior, because you think you have inside information that Mrs. Kirk has been CIA all along. I'm not saying she's not. What I'm saying is even having an opinion over the matter is buying into the paradigm. If all of government is a clown show, then everything reported on the news is an extension of that clown show as well. You can imagine a circus where you have multiple rings going on. That ring right there, Bill Gates took the front stage, and that little ring right there, look at that monkey right there sitting there juggling syringes. That's what's happening in that little ring. Over here on this bigger ring, we got Trump over here. Pulling his pants up, and Netanyahu walking the other way. I don't know what just happened in that ring, but something happened, but it's a circus. Who cares? Everything is designed to distract. It is a circus. It is sensory overload. You are bombarded. There's no way in a circus that you can see every act, and you're not meant to. You're not meant to. It's designed for you to come back so you can focus on another act. It's designed for you to come back again and to enter this feed loop, which is a relationship with the liars, where a soul engages in an exchange of information with the very liars that are putting the information out. This is the true soul trap. But I anticipate myself. World leaders from actors guilds, astronaut stars on Hollywood Boulevard. It's crazy. We have AOC getting on the news anytime she wants to. AOC, with her background, trying to tell us what our morals and ethics should be. It's a clown show. It's a clown show. We have people who eradicated every man, woman, and child in an area of the world where they had no military, no armament, no jets, no air support, no navies. They had nothing. And yet a superior military told the rest of the world they were the victims. And when they want to do the same to Iran, they want to pontificate morals and ethics to the rest of the world after having just done that. It's a clown show. Absolute clown show. This world is not meant to be saved. In your problem, you wake up every morning trying to find a reason why this world needs to be saved. I've been telling you since the inception of my channel, you are a pilgrim. You are passing through a circus. And every time you stop to look around and try to save the circus, you become one of the clowns. Because you buy into a paradigm that sucks you in like a black hole, and it's real hard to break out of that dungeon programming because you willingly engaged in a feedback loop. You signed a contract. Very hard to nullify it. Very hard. I love coffee though. And please don't send me any more emails talking about, hey, Jason, new studies show about coffee. I wanted to reach through my email and wring your neck. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, quit. I don't want to hear all these people trying to save me. You quit. Quit. Trying to hear it. Let me have my vices. I already quit smoking. I quit smoking everything. But I only did it for 3 years in my early 20s. I'm 52 now. Yeah. I don't get drunk. I don't have hardly any vices whatsoever. I do not have an addictive personality. Yeah, man, I'm just nothing. So when I go to talking about coffee, do not send me emails. Yeah, that shit. I read my emails even though I don't answer them all. I scan them fast. And sometimes I'll isolate shit. And if you guys send me like PDFs to downloads and all that, I don't download them. I'm just telling you now, man, I have a lot of security on my system. And one of the things that my system doesn't like is when I download any attachments to emails. So what I'll do is I will open up the attachments in the system, in the email system, and then screenshot them, which doesn't infect my system at all. I will not download what you send me attachments. I do look up the numbers or whatever you're trying to, like, if it looks really interesting, I can go find it online instead of downloading it from your email. I'll go find it online. It's safer for me. I'm very cautious about what actually touches my computer. So, anyway, yeah, a lot of you guys, I got like 5 or 6 emails talking about coffee studies and all. I'm trying to hear this shit. Yeah. I know that I've been exposed to a lot in my life, and the pattern of my life, how I live my life, my convictions alone purge my avatar from things that do not belong in it. And I know the oversoul puts me into positions sometimes that forces my avatar to eject things that don't belong in it. So I just don't have this belief that external things really going to do anything bad to me. Even spraying the skies. I understand what the metals do to you and all that, but I'll also charge my field. I'm not going to get religious with you guys. I'm not in that mood right now. But I am going to say that because my peace is not for barter, that also means my relationship with my environment. And when it comes to my environment, which also includes everything in the environment that is external to me, that I introduce to my avatar, like coffee, because my peace is not for barter, I am always envisioning myself protected by the armor of the oversoul. I have a video about this where I explain how I do this and how you can do it too. We all have armor of the oversoul. It is our highly tuned, informed field. Your informed field will be as weak as you want it to be. Your informed field protects you from the exterior programming that saturates your field every single day. And your informed field will act as a conduit, pulling in all this toxicity, pulling in all this negativity, all this base, just crap that's in the field when you entertain it. But your informed field will equally resonate so opaque nothing can affect you. It just can't, because it is armor. But if you turn that armor into a conduit by tacit agreement with anything that's out there in the field, that's on you. Don't transpose your belief onto me. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Do not warn me of a negative. Yeah, sometimes I block those emails. I block the individuals that even try to tell me that stuff. Information is a weapon, and it's a weapon because of its effect on the received. It's also a weapon because of the intent that it was provided. Sometimes people are genuine, and the energy attached to an email is just that, genuine concern for another soul, but I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not. If the intent is to introduce into my field a worry is a seed that becomes something far more sinister if I continue to dwell on it. So this is why I am the way I am. I know a bunch of you guys think I'm an asshole. I know a bunch of you guys, I've been very curt, terse. I cut off trolls. I know you guys, some of y'all just really disagree with how I've run Archaix, but it's worked. From the inception of my channel, my criminal history, my attitude, my voice, how I look, people have always attacked me. So I have zero tolerance. And as soon as anything like that pops up in my chat, I axe them. Gone. I have blocked thousands of people from Archaix, and I'm still growing. I'm still growing. But it's because I protect my energy. And that's basically what I'm conveying to you in this video. It's about the protection of energy, because the info war is real and it is spiritual. Absolutely. It's a clown show. Every bit of this is a clown show. This is just the intro. We haven't even started with the first section, the negative effects of the news on you. We ain't even started the first section yet. 37-minute intro. That's embarrassing. So I love my coffee, and I'm not trying to hear it. Thank you, son of Overbrook. Met that boy in Tampa, Florida. I did a meetup in Florida. I met him. Great energy. Griddle Dark. I see Vincent here. Justin's avatar. If it's not Justin's avatar, who's it? Oh, there's Lacey Z. There she is. Oh, I'm going to start a rumor. Let's see here. Hey, Dak, how you doing? Jamie Robbins, I see you. I still can't pronounce your name, man. Didgeridoo? Did I say that right? Didgeridoo? I might have said it right. I'll be damned. Not of this world. Nanny Boo Boo. Some of these names are also in my cipher group or an underground. So I deal with a lot of these long Archaix veterans. Mystical Fortunes, how you doing, Shanta? So the negative effects on the news, before we go through the actual techniques, the key is this: you are powerful enough to objectively observe your environment without emotional investment. The emotional investment is what tethers you to the very phenomena that you observe. When you're able to just be objective and see something for what it is without trying to take a side, that's true power. Because there's no tacit agreement here. There's no emotional tethering to the phenomena. There's no exchange of information. It's not subjective. You are objectively observing something from outside of the phenomena. And you can make a judgment call if it's true or not. And it doesn't affect the field. It doesn't affect you at all. You're a spiritual being. You have these inherent rights to decide for yourself what's real and what's imagined. And it doesn't affect the event itself. And you're not to suffer for having an opinion. It's when your opinion is attached to emotion that you get sucked into these paradigms. And this is the purpose of the news. It is the reason why so many people who are addicted to mainstream media can't break free of it, because they are moored into a feedback loop that is feeding them. It is creating cortisol and adrenaline, and it's a cocktail that completely fuels their psyche, and they get addicted to it, and they've got to have more, and they've got to, and there's no way you're going to convince these people that they're victims of psychological programming, of psyops. You can't. You guys know what I'm talking about. The negative effects of the news. So we all know this. Constant news exposure triggers the body's fight or flight response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline, even though no real threats exist in your immediate environment. Do you understand how different this is as opposed to how people lived 100 years ago? 100 years ago, people were moored to the moment. This life is what was real. Everything else was rumor. And they took the mature initiative to either decide if those rumors about things happening abroad were real or imagined. And it didn't affect their daily life. But with that television, with that wizard box, with that soul trap sitting in our living rooms, that soul trap we're carrying in our back pockets now. We are now moored into a paradigm where information can be had instantly. The war against the soul has become very, very personal. News is overwhelmingly negative and sensationalized, which skews our perception toward pessimism, fear, and distrust. Think about it. Since when was the news happy? You ever woke up a day in your life and you heard the mainstream networks report everything happy all day long? And then maybe around 3:30 in the afternoon, breaking news, one sad or morally indignant thing happened, but the rest of the day, it was all happy? Man, the sun came up just like it does 365 days a year. We would love to report that it's blue skies, very thin cumulus clouds, and we have the sparrows and the robins playing. What do you think? What does it look like out in the field, Tiffany? Oh, it's beautiful out here. And yeah, the sun came up just like you said. It's a beautiful day, blue sky, no chemtrails. We've got so far reported no aggravated armed robberies, no sexual assaults. We've got no politicians committing suicide. There's nobody behind Trump doing anything evil to him. It's everything looks really good today. Oh, okay. Back to you, Ted. And then Ted gets back on there and gives you the news, and everything's hunky dory. This has never happened ever in the history of broadcasting. So the news is absolutely designed to be negative, or we're living in a world that does not deserve to be saved, and everything is truly effed up. You take your pick, which it is. The news fills your head with endless opinions, headlines, and problems you can't solve, creating mental clutter and distraction. Think about it. Get glued to mainstream media, and now something that has no effect on your life whatsoever, you are now mentally embroiled into something for which has no resolution. It's toxic. It's so mentally poisonous, which translates to spiritually poisonous, because you're going to dwell on things that have no remedy. You're going to be forced to dwell on things for which there are no answers. It's mental clutter. It's a psyop. It's just total psyop. So the vast majority of stories from worldwide politics and distant conflicts, celebrity scandals, economic fluctuations far away, none of these directly impact your life, your health, your finances, your family, your day-to-day reality is unaffected in any meaningful way, except for however it's affected by you absorbing that information, cogitating on it, and then maybe behaving. So the news becomes an activator. It produces information that you accept to be true or false, and then you actually do something out there in the field responding to that information. And it could be all BS, invention. Therefore, the news can be a great facilitator to induce populations to perform acts in a certain way. That's pretty dangerous. That's sorcery. News often highlights problems without solutions that you can act on, fostering feelings of impotence and frustration. The whole Israel-Giza deal going on for years, and the actual what was really happening is reported. So many people have reported what was really going on. So you're forced into a situation of knowing, damn, I have a pretty good life. I get up, I go to work. I got a badass girl. I got a good job. I got a nice place to live. And man, these people over here, man, they're going through it. There's nothing you can do. And this also, I mean, everything affects you on a subconscious level. Don't think it doesn't. News you receive during the day is being processed in REM sleep. It's affecting your sleep rhythms. All this information. What's also affecting you on a deep emotional is because we're spiritual beings, we're deeply emotional. Even though we don't like to admit it, we are. It's what we all have in common. It's what makes us so different than the rest of the world. Spiritual beings are very emotional. And this emotion causes problems for us when there's no way to export. There is no way to deal with the emotion. So in REM sleep, when you're processing all the data of the day, you have this spirit that is stuck with this impotence, knowing that other souls in the construct are suffering and you can't do anything about it. So it becomes toxic, something you hold on to. So there's all kinds of negativity in the news and how these things are reported. Smoky Mountain. What's that? Smoky Mountain 8. Coffee is my life. Absolutely love coffee. I drink about 3 cups a day. 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon during a video like this. Sometimes 4 cups, sometimes 2. 2 to 4 is my average a day. So thank you guys for joining me. We got almost 1,600 people in the chat. I saw somebody mention CB. Thought I saw CB's name. I talked to an old friend on the phone today. She used to be real active in Archaix. A lot of you know her, but she's also very private. It was good talking to her. I know she's listening. So flooding the zone. Flooding the zone. Think about your life. Think about everything you've seen on your phone. The news pops up. You know, news is also saturating YouTube. News pops up on TikTok. News pops up everywhere. You don't have to watch the mainstream networks to be saturated with these psyops. So, flooding the zone, overwhelming the media and opponents by constantly releasing a high volume of information, statements, policies, or scandals. Flooding the zone was originally applied to governments. It was what politicians would do when they're trying to hide something. When they know that they have to release this story, they do release that story, but they flood the zone with so many other narratives and stories and reports and this going on over here that no one really has time to process what has been revealed. It often gets hidden. The goal isn't always to convince people of a specific narrative, but it's to create chaos. It is to create confusion, to foment exhaustion. We're going to talk about that too. Hypervigilance. The public and journalists, they can't focus on any one issue long enough to scrutinize it deeply. It's a very effective technique government uses to deal with the media and the population. When they know that they legally have to release some type of data because it's become an issue in the courts or it's become an issue somewhere else, and they know that in order to protect themselves in the future, they've got to release some information and burp it out right now. But they don't, it would be the news of the day. People would be talking about it for days. So instead, they'll hold on to it until all their agents have just enough news stories that they sit there and have all these people contact ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. Everybody thinks they're about to release badass news deals and all kinds of different stuff, and it's all smoke screen. And then the news cycle just explodes, and you and I are on social media and on X going like, damn, man, look, this happened. It's going crazy. Look, it's the Great Awakening. Everybody's waking up. Look, it's the Great Noticing. And it's all by design. And one little story is leaked, and that's what they were trying to hide. And it's only in ex post facto later on that people realize the significance of that one little story. But by then it's too late to act on it. So saturating the field, it limits the population's ability to process the revelations and grasp the full scope of an item that has been disclosed. It's a very popular technique. So by generating constant new content, bad news can be overshadowed or normalized through sheer saturation. People get tired, they tune out, or they just can't keep up. It's very effective. This is flooding the zone. It limits the ability of listeners to connect the dots. Thank you, Jay-Z, man. I just saw one of your posts on X right before we started this video, man. Yeah, we are moving into a hyper acceleration event in 20. If you want to know some of the details about what's going on, I can't believe I'm saying this. There are two astrologers you need to pay attention to if you want to know. I'm not interested in the details. I'm not. I really just want to do chronological videos. That's all I really want to do the rest of my life is chronological videos, show you guys some deep things, prove that we're in a mathematical construct, and expose all the false narratives as being false and show you what the real data is. I would be happy spending the rest of my life doing that. But you know, the more I feel like I'm getting pushed by different areas, the more I feel like pushing back. So I'll push back talking about politics, talking about the people who really control this world until I find some common ground where I feel like they're leaving me alone so I can do my thing. But as long as I feel all this aggression and pushback from some of these larger channels and what's going on, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and push back too because I'm a fighter. But there's two astrologers you need to pay attention to if you want to know, have a really good grasp. And I'm not saying that there aren't others, but if you listen to these two, which is Mystical Fortunes, her name is Shanta. She's been on my channel. Well, somebody else has been on my channel too. It was a long time ago. It's a good guy, but Astrologer Joe has his finger on the pulse. You need to listen. If you just want an idea of basically what's going on in the field, how events are going, these two individuals got their finger on the pulse. This is what I would do. I personally, I'm just not interested in the details anymore. But I'm not gonna lie, from time to time I'm in the wood shop, I'm doing things with my hands. I listen to other content creators as background stuff. So those are two. I'll give them a little plug right now. It's been a long time since I talked to Joe, but I appreciate that, Jay-Z. So hypervigilance, this oversaturation into the field of all these paradigms. It's a psychological state of constant heightened alertness and extreme watchfulness. You know people like this. All of you know people like this. Some of you are married to people like this. They are another person when they're watching the news. They're getting their, it's sad, it's so sad, but they're getting their uploads because their whole, everything about their rhythms, everything about their psyche is already programmed to need to feed every day. So my grandparents were like this bad. I could not believe how zombified they were. Even when I was a kid, I noticed it. When I was a kid, I used to watch the news and it used to really upset me. I was like, damn, I was in Wichita Falls and in Burke Burnett, way up in North Texas, and with my grandparents all the time. And I was a kid, and man, when the news came on, these are puritanical Southern Baptist Christians. This woman would beat you with a stick. And this man had a heart of gold. And I got on the bus with him every Sunday in the summer times and Christmas time, 2 weeks at Christmas time. And I went all over North Texas counties and picked up all these children that live far away from First Baptist Burke Burnett, Texas, little bitty town, not even on the map. Old oil town that died. They quit drilling oil there. In Burke Burnett, Texas, I would drive around with Byford Sparkman. Byford Sparkman was a true man of God. That man there used to amaze me. Very peaceful, muscular, strong, a mechanic. He was a mechanic. But he volunteered every Sunday to go pick up all the children. We'd start like 5 a.m. in the morning, and we would drive to all these long distances to farmsteads everywhere and fill that bus up with kids that were excited about going to Sunday school. And Byford Sparkman, my grandpa, and me, we'd go pick them all up. And we'd end the day. And they'd go to Sunday school, and then they'd go sit in big church. And then we'd all load up on the bus after afternoon when church was over with, and he'd make sure everybody was on that bus, and he'd spend the rest of Sunday afternoon making sure all those kids made it back. Their own parents wouldn't take them to church. He went way out there and did this all half his life. And he'd go turn that bus in, make sure it was fully gassed. He would service it, oil it, check the oil, everything. It'd be Sunday evening before Byford and I would come in, and then Melva Sparkman, my grandma, would have the Sunday pork roast. That was her tradition. Every single Sunday, she'd have Corningware full with the same looking pork roast. She had this every Sunday was pork roast, potatoes, beans. I'll never forget. That's how I was raised as a kid. From when I was 5 years old, when I was adopted, till I was 15, when I ran away from home. But the summers I spent with the Sparkmans, my grandparents, and I used to read because they had books. I used to read so much in Burke Burnett, Texas. But it shocked me, even when I was a kid, how my grandparents, when the news came on, everything in the house shut down. They sat there and were glued to the Wichita Falls news. They would go national, they would go worldwide news, and they would go local events, and they had to listen to every single bit of it. And when it came on at 7 p.m., they were glued till 8:30, and then when it came back on at 9 to 10, they watched every single bit of it. And I never forget those years. They were 100% enmeshed in dungeon programming. I'll never forget how zombified they were watching that news. So yeah, this is hypervigilance. It creates this heightened alertness, this watchfulness of potential threats and danger when there's no threat in your environment. There's no real risk around you, but it mentally creates the risk, and you produce cortisol. Your brain produces cortisol based off a thought. You produced an emotion because you're spiritual. When the mind receives the emotion signal through the central nervous system. The brain is a hormone factory, and it produces the necessary hormone. And in this case, it's cortisol, which is addictive. You're addicted to the stress. Stress is addictive. A lot of people can't deal with being at peace because they've been so stressed out for so long. And they actually have a mental breakdown when all the stress is gone. It becomes even more stressful for them because the stress is absent and they don't know how to deal. They don't know how to deal with that. They don't know what being at peace it truly is. It scares the shit out of them. That's dungeon programming. So hypervigilance, it's like your brain's alarm system is stuck on the on mode all the time. All the time. It's hypervigilance. Yeah. Byford and Melva. It could be 2:30 in the afternoon. And Byford and Melva in the kitchen. She might be chopping. This is real. She might be chopping potatoes. I might be over there with the paring knife, just chopping up onions. And she's showing me how to do all these. I used to cook a lot. So she's showing me how to do all this, and Byford might walk through the kitchen and just say, "Oh, I heard such and such was going to be on the news tonight," and Melville would stop. "Oh yeah, what'd you hear?" And it used to shock me. I'll never forget my childhood memories because I never could get the fascination. The news was so boring to me, and it was all fake. It was so fake to me. It's like, man, people don't act like that. I said, people don't even talk like that. I said, why would anybody react like that? Why does that woman almost look happy talking about a plane crash? Everything seems so fake to me, but they fell for it, and they were so immured in it. It was so crazy. But your brain's alarm system is on the on mode all the time, scanning your surroundings, scanning people, listening for sounds, watching people's body language. You're hyper vigilant, and you don't need to be. You're in a heightened state of awareness, and you don't need to be. And it makes you read things into phenomena that's not there. It causes you to make false assumptions about things you observe. Hypervigilance is terrible. Terrible. A real good explanation of how hypervigilance really toxifies you is in PTSD victims. That's what PTSD is. Their brain got switched on and someone broke the switch out. They're hypervigilant for everything now. It's PTSD. These soldiers go through traumatic shit. And when they go through that traumatic shit, they become super vigilant. And when they're in the field, it could be a possum that was too heavy for a stick and the stick snapped. But in their mind, there are 4 VC out there. And if anything moves in the shadows, or swear there's people sneaking up on them and they're armed and they're about to die, and they would just go ahead and unload their clip into the darkness. And probably just shoot the back of other GIs that are hiding further up. This is hypervigilance. And this is what the news does to you. It creates that. Without the news, if there was no such thing as the news, people would be behaving differently in different setups, in different situations. But it's the news that educates you on what's going on around you, or miseducates you. And you have a fear or a suspicion of many people around you that really just want to be friends and just want to say hi, but you don't see it. What you see are potential enemies and adversaries everywhere. What you see. So the news does to you. It's a constant state that wreaks havoc on the central nervous system. It's PTSD. Limbic system kindling. That's Dr. Ward. Prison does it to you too. You get hypervigilant until you've been there so long, like I was, that you can walk into a cell block and then basically get a real good feel within 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And then 2 minutes after that, you pretty much know who the 2 or 3 most dangerous individuals are in that cell block. But that comes with experience. So after is not prison doesn't really cause hypervigilance unless you've been traumatized. Somebody beat the shit out of you early in your years or something happened to you. But hypervigilance is serious with the military community. They deal with it. They have a specialized term for it, PTSD. But truly, a lot of people suffer PTSD who have never been in war. And it's because of the damn news. It's a heightened sense of danger in public, and it does serve a purpose. What kind of purpose would that serve? Putting oversaturation of so many different narratives, always keeping you on your edge, always making you look for enemies. What would it do to a large portion of the population? I'm going to tell you what it's going to do. It's going to keep your ass at home. That's what it's going to do. You're going to order. They don't have to design 15-minute cities. All they got to do is news events. You'll keep your own ass at home. So negative programming also influences behavior, like keeping your ass at home. And by keeping your ass at home, it also creates a false sense of security. Because you're really not safe there either. I mean, you're being oversaturated with all kinds of narratives. They could be actually concealing something else. So there's all kinds of dangers at home too. You guys know what smart meters do. So that's hypervigilance, which is created. Hypervigilance is definitely created by flooding the zone. Flooding the zone is the oversaturation of all kinds of narratives in order to hide something or conceal something they don't want the general public knowing about at that time, but they don't care if you know about it later. How many times have we received a major drop in the news that blows our mind? We know this person should be lynched, should be executed, should be prosecuted, but it's so long after the fact. And there's always, when you go researching it, there's always another news item further back that already told you that in different words that they can default to, because they always got to tell you. But you missed it. You missed it. We all missed it. It was designed to be missed. But they have these fallbacks in place where they can always say, oh, no, the New Yorker reported this on page 37 right here, column 2. The New Yorker already told us all about this, but even the New Yorker was engaging in hypervigilance. It put it back on page 37 instead of front page news, which would have got people's attention. But no one really paid attention to the New Yorker because all the publishing companies at the time and all the media was involved in promoting a whole new magazine that debuted that month. And on the cover was this individual who was going through some shit in the courts, and everybody was talking about it. So they got away with publishing column 2, page 37 in this, and drawing all attention away from that. But they legally covered their bases because the court told them they had to tell the public in a major such a magazine. They do this all the time. And by the time you realize that disclosure has been made on a certain topic, there's nothing you can really do. The public has already moved on. It's moved on. This happens almost on a daily basis, these types of disclosures. So saturating the field, which is flooding the zone, creates hypervigilance, which is not good. But there's another technique. It is a Russian propaganda technique, but it was coined by the Rand Corporation. This is really interesting. Anybody who's done some background on the Rand Corporation, you'll know a whole lot about espionage. You'll know a whole lot about social engineering. Yeah, it's anybody who's done a little homework just to find out who the movers and shakers are of the Rand Corporation. You'll know that they're media, 100%. So, Firehose of Falsehood. The Firehose of Falsehood is a term invented by the Rand Corporation analysts who were studying the Russian psyops and Russian psychological operations for their media. The Rand Corporation was studying how the Russians performed their own media psyops. And when they saw these techniques, they gave them the name Firehose of Falsehood. So, Firehose of Falsehood involves high volume, high frequency lies and distractions to overwhelm truth-seeking efforts and create general confusion rather than a belief in any single falsehood. The fire hose of falsehood is different than the saturating the zone, flooding the zone. Flooding the zone is reporting so many news items about so many different topics, you lose what they're really trying to conceal. Fire hose of falsehood is exactly what it sounds like. A big old fire hose puts way more out than a water hose does, or a spigot, or a spout. A fire hose puts out a whole lot, but it's all falsehood. Saturate. It's the same thing as flooding the zone, but everything's a lie. Excuse me. It's the same thing as flooding the zone, but in fire hose of falsehood, all the false narratives, all the narratives are a lie. Every single one of them. And you get the population into taking sides, and it doesn't matter because you invented both sides, and they're both a lie. And if they don't buy into this one, they buy into that one, or they buy into this one. You put a massive amount of tenets out there, of positions out there. You put all these mental constructs out there, and people naturally gravitate to what they think is true and what is false. And now you have an entire population that is saturated with a whole bunch of stories. They're all taking sides. They're blowing up their own social media posts. They're making videos. They're doing all this stuff. And every single narrative you put out is a lie. Every single one of them. That came from the Russians. That's fire hose of falsehood. It is deliberate manufacturing confusion to erode the trust of institutions. It is narrative warfare. They don't care what you believe. They don't care which one you deem as false. They don't care if you have 187,000 subscribers on YouTube and you're claiming that this is not untrue. They don't care because of all the people who deem it to be true. Something's messing with me. I got sneeze again. They just don't give a damn. So the public perceives these competing narratives, but the outcome of each is designed to support unknown agendas. You don't know what those agendas are. You have no idea. I wish I had some tissue in here. Excuse me. It's cold outside, but it's warm in here. So this Russian technique, fire hose of falsehood, it causes the population to connect dots that aren't even there, to build mental constructs and theories based off information that's not even true. There's all kinds of reasons why your government would want you to believe and argue about things that are not true. There's all kinds of reasons why your reaction to narratives will inform the government server farms what kind of individual you are, and in the future, what you will accept to be true and what you will dismiss outright. There's reasons for this technique. Putting out all false narratives and seeing the public reactions and how they become divisive and how people build whole social media platforms based off these false narratives, like Satan's Little Season, like Younger Dryas Impact Theory. This allows these server farms to acquire data on individuals that basically are psychological profiles. This individual here will accept information and there's nothing to support it. This individual here, if you present information intellectually and you sound convincing, you don't have to have any supporting evidence, no bibliographic citations, no scientific reports. You don't have to have anything peer reviewed, nothing. This individual will accept something at face value if it's presented right. These individuals here are not trying to hear it unless you come with the receipts. They have psychological dossiers on every single person in the world. This is how they make them. So That's pretty dangerous when the media can just throw out all these false deals. Not just the media. When I say media, I'm now including alt media. I'm now including alt media because I'm a part of the alt media. Archaix is a part of alt media, but they've taken it over too. They've literally taken over alt media as well. So it causes the population to connect dots that aren't even there. Do you see how dangerous that is? Do you see how many millions of people are playing with opinions and facts as if they have substance when 100% of the position itself was created in a think tank just for you to do exactly what you're doing? It's crazy. Third space, man. Thank you. I'm going to drink to that because I love coffee. Thank you, bud. Always there. Another reason why the Firehose of Falsehood is so effective is it's the introduction of controlled opposition. It makes it appear that the resistance to an idea is because the idea is true and it has merit. Do you see how deceitful that is? The introduction of controlled opposition, meaning after they put out all in the Firehose of Falsehood, the media releases all these psyops. Every single one of them are untrue. Then they kick back and they have think tanks that are observing and watching, and they got server farms that are recording everything. And then they go ahead, and that's phase one. Phase two is releasing social media personalities. People you don't even know or heard about before. All of a sudden, this guy pops up. How the hell did you get on Joe Rogan and no one's ever even heard of you before? And now you got 200,000 YouTubes. 3 months ago, you were a nobody. How did this happen? But you are saying something that supports the opposition to one of these false paradigms. And now people are paying attention to you because you were put into that position. But you're arguing, saying this can't be true. And because your rise is so fast, it's so obvious to intelligent people that you're a puppet. It's so obvious that you were a nobody until somebody put you on a pedestal. And you look just like all these other intelligence operatives that are operating in the field. It's all by design. They want you to disbelieve him. He's arguing against this position here, which makes you and every other intelligent person out there believe that since he looks so obviously like controlled opposition, then the opposite must be true. Hook, line, and sinker. You just bought a lie. Because the opposite's not true. In that psyops operation, the Firehose of Falsehood, everything they put out was untrue. But because they set up people to argue for one side or the other, and then they even set them up to look like they're fake, look like they're frauds, look like they're puppets, look like they sold the contract, and even attach them to other people who are semi-distrustful in the community, you are automatically going to assume the opposite because he's arguing for it. You're going to assume the opposite must be the truth. Very clever. They've been doing, I tell you guys all the time, they've been doing this for a very long period of time. So isolating particulars while ignoring the normal incidents also makes it appear that the isolated reports are basically, they kind of reflect the accurate social climate. It's just, there's a lot of reverse psychology involved. Almost all the psyops are now reverse psychology, and people just, the beauty of it, and it is beautiful. The beauty of it is that it doesn't take a lot of effort to fool people. The beauty of it is that people's own ego will refuse to allow them to admit that they have suffered a psyop. They just can't process it. That's why the psyops, that's why these intelligence agencies don't even have large funding. It doesn't even require hardly any money to do this stuff. They can take the entire population on a ride back and forth because most of the population They just don't have the character, because that's what it requires. Character is spiritual. They don't have the character to step out of a belief and look at it and then admit, man, I was wrong. I fell for all that shit. I'm so dumb. They can't do it. That inability to process information from a distance and to look how it affected you and then admit that you were wrong and that you fell for some BS is so rare. It's what makes psyops so successful. False information is so successful. It isn't their fault. It's yours. Another problem, another phenomenon this creates with all this saturating the field with 100% bullshit narratives, where the truth isn't, the truth's not even on the table. For whatever the phenomenon that is you're trying to find out with, the actual truth isn't even one of the narratives out there. And yet everybody's arguing. They're polarized. This must be true. This must be true. Nah, it's not that one, man. That's a psyop. That's a psyop. That's a psyop. No, this right here, they're arguing the real shit. It's right here. It's a psyop too. Every bit of it was information from the beginning. So what happens? I hate these pop-ups. Microsoft pop-ups suck. So what happens when this type of coercion, it's a coercion. When they just saturate the field with all false narratives, it's coercion. So what does it do? It limits your choices. Absolutely limits your choices. Because no choices that you make could ever result in something that is even remotely attached to the truth. Because nothing attached to truth was released in those psyops. They're all false. Limited disclosure on like artificial stories. They're made to sound real, and it makes the whole psyop sound legitimate. So I'll give you an example. When the media, when everybody's hungering for some information, they're hungering for information. We know the information's out there. We've been told the information's out there, but the media tantalizes you with just a little crumb, and then they pull back. They just pull back, and they limit the disclosure, which creates energy. It creates want. It feeds that feedback loop, and like creates information junkies out of those who are addicted to social and mainstream media. But the very fact that the disclosure was very limited automatically makes the receiver of that information believe that there must be a whole lot more information and it must be juicy, when really there might not be anything behind that cardboard. That little cardboard sign has some information on it that blows your mind, but it's just a piece, and you know there's a huge puzzle. They just showed you a piece, and they'll just show you a few more pieces. You can put the whole puzzle together yourself because you got so much information from a bunch of false narratives, but you think they're real. And the media holds that little piece out. So you go 6 months, you go 18 months, you go 2.5 years believing that this shit's real. And the media's been stringing it along, barely feeding you little pieces. And every bit of it, 100% from the beginning, was a psyop. None of it is true. The truth is probably far worse than anything the media has conveyed. Limited disclosure is an excellent way to feed a psyop. That's all I'm saying. Limited disclosure is an excellent way to perpetuate and feed a psyop. I'm going to tell you another technique, and this technique is so advanced. It's so simple. It's advanced in its simplicity. How many of you are familiar with the term pre-bunking? Very effective. It's very effective. It does exactly the opposite of what you think it does. To give you an example, we've been given some clues in the media that something is about to be divulged. We know just enough about it We've been groomed. That's what the media does. They groom us all the time. So they groom us with these tantalizing little morsels, and everybody's like, oh, they're about to reveal this. They're about to, they're about to reveal this. And then all of a sudden, somebody pops up in the field and they've got details. They've got information. They've got all kinds of stuff, and they are literally already defending the very individual that's about to be accused of something before the individual is actually accused in the public. It's only rumor. People basically know where all this is going, but there's nothing official been released. But also we got this guy. This guy's got details, got information, and he's already going gung-ho, defending, talking about, man, this individual's upstanding citizen doing this. They would never engage in this activity, do none of that. They're already pre-bunking something that hasn't been officially released. It's all psyop. It's all psyop. It's not somebody trying to get ahead of something. It's a psyop designed to get you to understand he's trying to pre-bunk something, so it must be true. And then when they reveal this information, the court of public opinion has already condemned that individual, whether they're innocent or guilty, based off the pre-bunker looking just like a psyop. So it can go both ways with the pre-bunking. It all depends on how the pre-bunker is positioned in the public. If he's positioned like Michael Button, we know Michael Button's a psyop, but Michael Button, who just appeared out of nowhere, was already on Joe Rogan supporting Graham Hancock. Then his 11-month-old YouTube channel, which was nothing, all of a sudden had 200,000 subs. We already know Michael Button, and he's not the only one. There's been several just like him. These guys just pop up into the field, and it's all by design. The public sees them like, man, you're so fucking fake, man. You're so artificial, dude. And anything they're saying now, you're going to believe the exact opposite of the truth. But the next piece of information down the line is designed. It's connected to that dude and how you feel about him. They just guided public opinion based off an imbecile they put on the field who was going to bat for the very thing that they wanted you to condemn. It's pre-bunking. It's a very sophisticated technique as well. People fall for it, though. People that are gullible always fall for it. So all this is designed to influence outcomes. That's all it does, is influence outcomes. So we covered 3 of those. Now where are we at? What is that one? Oh my God. I left this on the screen the whole time. Let me get that off. I didn't mean to leave that on the screen. Get that off. Why did somebody say something? Jason, you look far away. I just meant to show that for a minute. I did not mean to show that the whole time I was talking. Thank you, Shaky Lane. I appreciate that. Max Headrome had a lot of gems. Remember that? Yeah, I do. I was kind of young. I was an 80s kid, but I was young in the 80s. I was 17 years old in 1990. Dead cat strategy. Dead cat strategy. Sounds weird, doesn't it? So, dead cat strategy is very simple. Politicians, media moguls get together. They work together all the time. They know for a fact that something has to be disclosed to the public. There are a lot of times it's legal in nature why something has to be disclosed. So they know they got to disclose this. They also know that it's not the right time at all for flooding the zone. It's not the right time for flooding the zone. Maybe they just did flooding the zone last week. Can't do that too much. You can't oversaturate the field, and the whole public will start losing trust in the media, which is what's already happening because they've been flooding the zone too many times. So dead cat strategy is a thank you, Soul of the Air Bender. The dead cat strategy is another way it's another strategy they employ. If they can't flood the zone because they've done it too many times, dead cat strategy is when they have to release something out, they go ahead and release it, But at the same time or just before, they release the dead cat. The dead cat is a shocking or outrageous distraction specifically designed to divert attention from bad news. It sounds exactly what it is, metaphorically. Dead cat strategy is when in the middle of an important conversation, somebody just drops a dead cat and everybody starts talking about how the cat died. Damn, what killed that cat? How long that dead cat been there? Who put that dead cat there? Everything is redirected to the new topic. Dead cat strategy is the importation of something that shocks the conscious. The entire public gets engaged and involved, and this little story right here gets to slip right on by, and the people that were legally obligated to release that information to the public have covered their bases because they can show that this publication on this date did in fact release that information, even though they also strategized with intel operatives and stuff, and they created a dead cat strategy. Dead cat strategies can often be created in real time by psyops that didn't even have an hour planning. It can be a psyop that unfolds at a moment's notice, shocks everybody into paying attention so the dead cat can get by. 3 days later, that dead cat's gone. Nobody even knows. Nobody even knows what happened to the original story. It's gone. But they met their legal obligation into disclosing to the public something that they needed to disclose. So at a future date, they will always be able in court or before the SEC or before whoever panel they're going to go back and show proof that this was disclosed to the public, and they don't even have to show that panel or that bench, the dead cat story, because it's not even relevant. It's not. It's just what they use to distract all attention away from it. That's called dead cat strategy. So it's when the noise, which is it's a military term, when the noise forces one to pick through competing narratives and it precludes informed decisions. So like in military intelligence, they're trained to throw out noise. I'm not talking about noise that you hear with your ears. Noise is anything the enemy perceives that you're doing. You might be doing troop movements here, armored column coming through the jungle here. There's drone activity over here. The enemy is trying to see everything you're doing. You got helicopters dropping in over here. They can see the C-130s way high in the sky. They know jet activity is 50 miles to the south. That's it. Your enemy is paying attention to every move you're making. You are creating noise when actually you've got a boating operation about to go upriver using silent motors, and you're going to come behind enemy lines with that. You put out so much noise, the enemy never even suspected that you were going to come up the river because you're going against the current. It's creating noise. The media does the same thing. They create noise, which is competing narratives, so you cannot make informed decisions. It's a diversion. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah, my dad has 2 bronze hearts and a purple heart. He has 2 bronze medals and a purple heart. He did 2 tours in Vietnam. I don't know if Dad's in the chat right now, but he got shot in the testicles because he was carrying a ham operator. He didn't even know the guy was dead. But my dad was first recall. He was in 1st Battalion, 2nd Infantry, and after a while, I forgot how he got talked into it, but he got talked into leading a 6-man recon team where they would drop him off by Hueys helicopters, and all he would do is go find downed helicopter pilots, see if they survived, and get anything in the downed helicopters before the VC got a hold of them. So, because helicopters would go down frequently in Vietnam, and my dad's 6-man team, there was a bunch of 6-man teams, but they would drop them behind enemy lines. Well, they got dropped. The VC camps were in concentric rings, and my dad got dropped in between 2 of those rings, not in the center, but in between 2 of those rings. And the helicopter pilots that dropped him into the DMZ didn't know that the VC were already encamped in that area. There had been no reports. So my dad got dropped in a hot zone, and everybody in his entire unit got full of lead, the ham operator was still alive when my dad started carrying him, and my dad just ran. And there's no way to fight that many men. There's VC everywhere. So he just took off running, carrying the guy. Then he stopped and took the dude's backpack off, took his own backpack off, picked the guy back up, kept on going, and later found out that the guy was full of bullets. Carrying him saved my dad's life. So it wasn't until he got to another rendezvous point and he got picked up that my dad realized he had been shot through the testicle, and he had been hit in the leg and in the testicle. But it's the reason why I'm adopted, and he didn't have kids. So he still had one testicle, but he got shot. And my dad's told the story to several people, so it's not even private. Everybody in the family already knows it. But my dad got medaled for that. And then after that, went and volunteered to go do a second tour in Nam. And I know a lot of you have met my dad at meetups and all that. And he's a portly guy with a big old gut and all that, but that's not his military pictures. I have his pictures. He was skinny as a rail. He looked like Keanu Reeves. He was wired to the gill. And when he came back to the States, he was muscular and sinewy. But yeah, he looked like a young Keanu Reeves when he came back from Vietnam. But that's my dad. My dad and I talk about different stuff. He tells me all the time. He says, "Boy," he said, "dude, you would have been an officer in the military. If you'd ever joined they would have put you aside, man, and you would have done something like intelligence or something." He tells me all the time. My Uncle Larry was a Huey mechanic. He later went to work for NASA. He was one of the 10,000 and something engineers that worked on the retractable landing gear on the original space shuttle program. They had 10,000 and something engineers working on that over a 7-8 year period, and my Uncle Larry was one of them. Larry Sparkman. He came back from Nam too. He used to be a Huey mechanic, and in Vietnam, my Uncle Larry used to he lives in Washington State right now, but my dad's brother, but he used to be on a team because the Huey helicopter in Vietnam was versatile, and in minutes they could turn a Huey into a medevac. They could turn it into a gunship and load it with missiles and like a Vulcan cannon and 50 calibers on the side, like Rambo. Like you've seen the movie Rambo. The Huey could be turned into a medevac, a freighter, a troop transport, a gunship. It could do everything. And my Uncle Larry was not only a mechanic, but he was also on that team that did those exchanges, because they all over the tarmac they would have everything that the Huey was designed. The Huey would come in and land at whatever area that it was going to be turned into at the point. If it was being used as a medevac, but they needed a gunship, it would come in there and land in the gunship helipad, and then all the guys, it was like a NASCAR. They just go to taking parts off, putting parts on, and it would take off. Now it's a gunship. So anyway, they told me all the stories about all that. I digress. We're on dead cat strategy. I just threw y'all a dead cat. I just threw y'all a dead cat in the middle of my dissertation. Tripped out. So that's what it is. It's creating noise. The dead cat is just noise. It's noise that attracts everybody's attention, so you focus away from the real issue that they're trying to hide from you. So, I mean, it's good. All these methods are really good at like controlling the narrative. There's not one single one that does it. The dead cat strategy or the Firehose of Falsehood. What was the other one? The flooding the zone. There's not any one that's just specialized in that. They all specialize in different ways on how to control the narrative. And the person or the entity using the strategy, they can now set the terms of any debate. They can steer conversations and public sentiment towards a more favorable or a less harmful outcome for whoever it is the media is servicing. It's just a way of they can bury damaging information. Vegas flat out. I don't think I've ever seen you before, have I? Thank you. I'll drink to that. So we have our last. This is our final type of media psyop that we're covering in this video, and it's Friday news dump. And don't think I made that up. This is actual, this is the actual terminology used in the media and in the intelligence apparatus. It's called the Friday news dump. Hey man, listen, man, we got to put this out. What do you want to do, man? You want to go ahead and put it out in the Friday news dump? That's exactly how these conversations go down, because what it means to them in the Friday news dump. So releasing unpopular announcements late on Fridays is actually quite popular. It's when fewer people are paying attention. This is often combined. It's often combined with another technique that we've already talked about, flooding the zone. So when something really important needs to be disclosed, but they don't want any public to really react or know about it, they'll choose a Friday night. They'll also flood the zone to hide it better. But on Friday night, media coverage is less than 50%. People are out doing their thing. It's the end of the week. Nobody's sitting down watching the news. They're all out. Or they're doing family activities and stuff. They're watching movies. The weekend is starting for these people. They may be traveling. So Friday night news dump is a very real thing. It's when they get rid of some of the news they don't want most of the people knowing about, or they want to minimize public reaction, because the weekend is a buffer zone, and everyone in media knows all you need is 48 hours to kill a story. Friday night, the Friday news dump is perfect because people go to sleep on it, and then Saturday's a new day. And a lot of people have lost interest, or there's nothing they can do, or there's really nothing to share. So many other things were released in the news too. By Sunday, almost Sunday, it's forgotten. By Monday, one of the other psyops takes over. By Monday, it's dead cat. Or by Monday, it's flooding the zone again with all different shit. Or Monday is when they go ahead and decide, okay, let's do the fire hose deal, and we'll continue the fire hose on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we'll get a couple experts popping up taking sides on one of the issues of the fire hose. Remember, the fire hose are all false. We are being played by the media on a daily basis. These are their techniques. So it's just really, yeah, it's simple. Friday news dump is just releasing noise to obscure a real signal on Friday, because the world does react differently on Saturday and Sunday. And when Monday is full of its own psyops, everything released on Friday is buried. It's just the way it is. It's multiple stories. I mean, they're all released simultaneously to overwhelm coverage, and it works. It's very effective. Very effective. So releasing facts, but then employing media tactics, the government can fulfill obligation to provide the public with information while also obscuring it. This allows government, individuals, and corporations to claim informed consent of the population, when in truth, it's not true. But legally, they can. Legally, they can pass laws in the future based off how the public reacted to something that was released, that was legally and formally released in newspapers and on the news in the past. But a court in the future can grant, like a government agency coming forth and passing a very, very toxic memorandum, or a legislator passing a bill that ordinarily would have never passed. But the legislators would tell the judge, oh no, we already have informed consent. Yeah, there was no public outcry whatsoever when we told the public we were going to do this. And then the judge, who's already in their pocket anyway, can wash his hands of it, because they provided newspaper articles showing that this was given to the public, and no one can come forth and show any evidence that there was public outcry. It's pretty devious how they do us. It's hiding the truth in plain sight. And it always occurs because of information overload. You need to process what I just said. Hiding the truth in plain sight occurs via information overload. Now, I have not picked up the torch on going to war against the system. You guys know that's not my position. I really don't care. The world is not worth saving. It's not. I feel that we are immortal spirits passing through this experience. But hiding the truth in plain sight via information overload is exactly the war I'm involved in. I'm always attacking these shills. I'm always attacking all these false paradigms. I'm always producing almost impeccable data sets where there's no arguing anyway, and showing all my sources and closing the book on argument after argument after argument after argument, and doing it on YouTube. And you guys have seen them and all that, but the rest of the world hasn't seen them at all. Archaix is still hidden almost everywhere. It's just right here on YouTube and on X and in my Archaix Underground. Because the field is absolutely saturated, information overload with what is false. You can't fight everybody. When 95% of everything in social media and online and on YouTube is absolutely false, it literally buries the truth. This is what's happened. And there's no way to fight it. All I can do is just keep reaching the few souls that I reach. That's it. So we get to the point. Oh, Margie smiles. You made me smile. Thank you. So ignoring the news. We've already covered all the negatives. Let's cover some positives. We've already covered the negatives. Let's now cover some positives. Ignoring the news. What effects will it have on you if you ignore it? Well, I'm going to tell you now, it dramatically reduces chronic stress and anxiety. If you just totally ignore the news, you're not going to miss anything because none of that shit applies to you anyway. If you just quit watching the news and doing other things, your life is going to be completely, dramatically less stressful, and you're going to be there's a whole bunch of anxiety that you're going to discharge. Your mood and your emotional baseline will improve noticeably. Remember, this is important, guys. You're in an information war. Whatever echelon that you're vibrating on is the world of phenomena that you will come into contact with. Change your frequency, you will change your world. This is why the news is so dangerous. You reclaim mental energy and focus for what actually matters when you're no longer toxifying your soul with mainstream media and a lot of alt media now. Most news events have zero tangible impact on your personal life. Now, that's a double-edged sword. Most news events have zero tangible impact on your personal life. But that statement's not true if you're watching the news. If you're watching your news, then most news events will have tangible impact on your personal life because you're going to attract the very phenomena on whatever plane that you're vibrating on. We live in a multiverse. This is a multi-planar construct. Multiple planes all coexisting at the same time, and you only experience the plane that you're vibrating with. This is the toxicity of the news. This is why it's very important that you've got to disentangle yourself from this BS. If you don't, and there few souls do, but there are some that do. If you have the ability to objectively observe events outside of any emotional contact with those events, you're a true spiritual being. You are truly powerful. And you can assess these events and you can see the trajectory of these events, and you know you're not borrowing into that energy. You're just observing it. It does not infect you. The problem is some people that feel they're very strong, but as soon as they get those emotional tugs, they are buying into one side or the other. It's dungeon programming. So if you quit watching this toxic news, it breaks the cycle of like not arrested development, but learned helplessness, of powerlessness. It breaks that cycle. It puts the power back into the individual, and you stop phasing into the collective. Remember, we have whole videos where we go deep and we talk about the differences that we live in two different realities at the exact same time. One of them is the highly personalized, informed field. It is your spirit. It is the world builder. You are a co-creator moored to source, but you can't stay into that. You have to phase in and out. There's always an exchange of information. But this is when you build your life. This is when you build the life of others. But then you phase back into the collective. And during that phase period, you either observe, you're doing collective things now, but you may not be in dungeon programming because you're not participating. You're observing, but you phase back into the collective on a daily basis multiple times. Multiple times. Two distinct realities you phase back and forth. This is who you are. So by not entertaining all this media shit, you actually empower the moments when you're in your informed field, or when you're phased into the collective, you are phased in as an observer and not a participant. If you're not paying attention to all this mainstream media, your sleep, your physical health, your resilience, everything will get a boost. You're no longer poisoning yourself. You're no longer manufacturing all the negative hormones or the hormones that create negative effects in the avatar. You redirect your attention toward real sources of fulfillment and not waste your time on thinking about events that have no correlate whatsoever with your experiences. They're so far away. They have nothing to do with anybody you know, any countries that you've ever been to, geographical areas you've never visited. They don't toxify you. You're not wasting your life with information that belongs elsewhere. This is the real soul trap. Life's deepest satisfaction comes from direct experiences. Every one of you can agree with that. Life's deepest satisfactions always come from direct experiences. You standing on a cliff with someone you love after you just spent 6 hours slowly making your way up to a mountain to look at a breathtaking valley, and you can see 200 miles into the distance. It's hazy, but you can see it. And the whole world's open to you. You're at the top of the world. The stars are beautiful. It's in the evening time. The sun is going down. That experience will always be all-encompassing, real, and it is far favorable than if you were sitting in your living room watching somebody else do it. Life's deepest satisfaction comes from our direct experience, meaningful connections, deep experiences, personal achievements, hobbies, self-improvement, the presence in the moment, not from being a passive spectator to world events that do not have anything to do with you. I just described the real soul trap. It's the real soul trap. You can't get past that. The media is the soul trap. You're told by many people in the field right now that after you die, you're going to go through a process where you have to make a decision, either go to the light or not go to the light. And that's a part of an elaborate soul trap, which basically means that there's nothing in your life that you ever did that has any meaning whatsoever. It's after you die, now your immortal spirit is subject to some type of danger. I'm calling bullshit. I know some very powerful people in the field promote this. I'm not trying to hear that at all. It robs from God, the ultimate creator, the forger of the immortal being. It robs from God the ability to care for his own. I just can't process that version of soul trap. I just can't do it. The media is the real soul trap. This construct is the real soul trap. While you are here, subject to the tides of human psychoactive frequencies. This is the trap. Death is a freedom from the avatar. The avatar is a part of the constructual programming. It's a part of the deceit. It's a part of the trap. Once you die and you are divorced from your avatar, there is nothing after the release, being released from this construct that is a threat to you. That's the domain of the oversoul. There's no way after death you have anything to fear. All the soul trap phenomena is while you're in this experience. And part of that apparatus is the media and everybody behind it. The poison is that you are being told that after you die, there is a trap laid out for your soul when you actually live inside the trap right now. That's my presentation, guys. The media is toxic. Absolutely toxic. But this is what I wanted to cover today. Thank you, Margie Smiles. What is that? Kira Lou? That's not your ordinary name. You changed your name. I got a good memory for thumbnails. I got a good memory for people's pictures. Yeah, man. This is what was on my mind today. It's all about the media. All about the media. Enter you. I'll see you in Houston pretty soon. Yeah, man. We're in the soul trap now, guys. There's no way in hell living a lifetime full of moral and ethical decisions that none of that matters, and that you're going to exit this construct and then suddenly be confronted with a decision, and it's that decision that determines what happens to your spirit afterward. It is ridiculous. I can't process that. You're in purgatory now. You're in Hades. You're in hell now. You are navigating your way through the trap now. All the negativity is in the construct. The similosphere is nothing but negative default programming. I've talked about this many times. It's all here. And you will be free of that once you check out this avatar. Let's see. I'm done with that. So I'm doing a bunch of work on Archaix. I got to move some things around. I'm about to do a huge predictions video in Cypher. We're going to go live in Cypher. I'm going to be doing the Cypher people. I'm going to be doing their personal and professional predictions for them on the screen. I think that's. Oh, we got to do Super Bowl predictions on Monday. I'm sorry. Yeah, Monday I think we're doing Super Bowl predictions, and then Wednesday we're going back in Cypher to do personal and professional predictions using the software. And I've got to talk to some admins. I got a lot of work to do, guys. A lot of things going on. I'm doing real good in life. I'm just a little overwhelmed. There's a lot of work to do, and to maintain my every other day I go on YouTube deal. So I put a lot of work out on YouTube, but this media stuff with so much happening in the field. There's so many qualified people already talking about what's going on in the field. So I wanted to address this from a different perspective and just let you guys know, man, we're way too powerful for this bullshit to fall for it. We're way too knowledgeable. We're way too spiritual. We're way too powerful. You got to remember, you got to walk through your life, and you have to claim your experience. And for me, my peace is not for barter. I'm not going to let the field saturate me with all this negativity. I'm not going to buy into it. My peace is not for barter. It's just simple as that. And because I feel that way, I'm just being moored to source and just being able to objectify and to look at these things and not participate in the polarization. It's a power. It's a power. It's okay to look at modern events and see what's going on, to be aware. It's not okay to be emotionally invested. Because once you are emotionally invested into anything external of yourself, you buy into that experience. What you vibrate toward will vibrate toward you. That's how the world of experiences is. It's all by echelons. It's all by planes of vibration, and you take yourself up and down that plane all the time. But when you adopt the attitude like I do, my piece is not for barter, it's an automatic armor against a whole bunch of BS out in the field. Automatic. So I don't think I have. Oh, we still have 2026 calendars. We got a lot of calendars, guys. We printed up a bunch, and we got these huge posters too. I forget to plug all this stuff, but you guys know we got all kinds of mugs and T-shirts, and yeah, we got everything in the world in the store now. I just keep forgetting to mention it. Stickers and chronological posters. We got chrono packs, 207 charts, Archaix charts, all paper in a paper pack. We got all kinds of stuff. It's in the Shopify store in the description box. But yeah, let me find something. You know what? Go back to don't let them lie to you. Love you guys.